I got some snacks here.
Yeah, I ran and got some sashimi.
Nice.
Like I'm starving.
Yeah, I've got all sorts of snacks here. Some a little healthy, some not so healthy.
Yeah, I would say my sushi's healthy. Oh, somebody's joining.
Hi, Scott.
Am- Hello, my darling. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Doing pretty good.
Hey, Amber.
Having
Hello. Oh,
I am having one of my food addictions for lunch.
ooh, sushi.
Hmm
Or is that sushimi?
It's sashimi.
Nice. I am having one of my addictions right now. That is a double chocolate peanut butter chip brownie that I made.
Well, at least you made it. I was just talking to my mom and letting her know. She asked what the topic was today, and I told her. And I was like, I just don't like sweet stuff. I bought we have a confectioner store here in Seattle, and I had picked up 4 chocolate truffles before Christmas. One for me, one for the guy that I'm dating, and one for a good friend of mine. And then the 4th one was for me as a treat for later. No, kitten, you cannot have the sashimi. And it's been 3 weeks and I still have the 4th one and I haven't eaten it.
I know how that goes, though. When I'm on
I keep looking at it and I'm just like, yeah, I'm not interested.
When I'm not eating, yeah, that's how I am with candy. As I'm just like, yeah, that'll stick around for a while.
Yeah, candy's just not a big thing for me. Now, if I walk into your house and there's like chocolate chip cookies in the oven and I can smell it, okay, that's different. There's
Yeah.
nothing better than a warm chocolate chip cookie.
Well, that's why I have a hold of my brownies, because I'm like, that's delicious.
Yeah, John's got snacks as well.
Oh boy, we are going to be a treat on this one. So let me tell you about not overeating.
Hey, James.
Hello. How y'all doing?
Hey, I know we're John, are we live?
I don't believe so.
Is John even paying attention to us?
Does he even like us anymore? Man, that thing is
I was
bright.
talking to him briefly.
It's a little bit better.
So James, do you have any food?
Yeah, but I'm gonna be eating healthy food during the thing.
Okay.
Good.
I'm having sashimi, so that's still healthy.
Uh-huh.
Amber, on the other hand, is having homemade brownies with peanut butter.
Double chocolate with peanut butter chip brownies.
I think I just gained 3 pounds from her saying that.
I have an interesting part to add to today's topic, which John and I already talked about. So it'll make my brownies seem really unusual that I'm having, that I cook them and that I'm eating them. What was
That's
that,
got-
James?
The nicotine pouch.
Oh.
Uh,
What the heck?
So, well, well, I'll have to take pictures and share them with you guys. Either dinner tonight or lunch tomorrow. I'm not sure which is. I'm doing lobster and scallop sausages.
oh wow.
What?
I found a recipe on Insta that I'm going to try. You dice up your lobster and your scallops, and you press them all together into like
Mm-hmm.
sausage, hot dog shaped.
Oh.
And you cook them sous vide, and then brown them in a little bit of butter. And then there's a whole like pico and avocado cucumber thing that you use as kind of a relish
Oh, that sounds
on
good.
it. Yep, and it's the recipe I saw calls for hot dog buns, but I think I'm going to use tortillas.
Yeah, or like I would even do lettuce wrap with that. That would be good.
Ooh, I could do that too. Okay, good idea. Yeah, and I'll have to find. I have an aioli sauce to put on top of it.
Guess I'm gonna be eating over at your place. It's a long day. No,
Yeah,
you know,
everybody keeps saying, when are you going to cook for us? And I'm like, let me know when and what. Sure.
I cook food for people all the time, and so they're accustomed to me making like nice traditional dishes, and then they'll just like randomly show up, and I'll have made something like I'll just throw something together, and I'll be like, "Oh, hey, this is something that I made that I think looks good," or or I made this Indian dish or Thai dish, and people are like, "Oh, you eat that?" Ugh,
Yeah,
beat me
my
in the
problem my problem with cooking is the fact that after I've done the cooking and of course the tasting that goes along with the cooking, I no longer want to eat afterwards.
Mm. There is that. Hey, so how much do you buy salmon on a regular basis?
I only I mean I do being up here, salmon's pretty easy to get, and so I do salmon on a fairly regular basis, but probably only maybe once or twice a month.
Well, I'm curious how much it is per pound there.
Oh boy, I'd have to double check. It's usually it depends on whether it's sockeye or coho or king.
Mm-hmm.
So it varies, but anywhere between $8 and $12 a pound for fresh caught.
I need to move somewhere where there's ocean, damn it.
The previously frozen stuff can actually be it can be as little as like $6 a pound.
Oh gosh.
You gotta, you can, if you've got a rod and reel, I can drive 30 minutes and go catch it myself if I wanted to.
Okay, that's what I'll do is I'll show up tomorrow. I'll have fishing poles for both of us. We can head out there and go fishing.
I do not have a fishing license in the state of Washington.
Oh, because the fishing police are so strict out there.
Yeah, Jay just keeps talking to me about, John, you gotta get your fish license for $25. I'm like, I'm not spending $25 on something I don't need.
It's $10.
I can talk any Arkansas cop out of giving me a fucking ticket. Nobody's gonna give me a ticket.
Man. I think they
I
get
say
off
that
on
on live
charging people
television.
$1,500
Oh.
for a ticket.
Yeah, it would blow to have to pay a hefty fine, but I doubt it'll ever
Yeah.
happen to me in the few times
Hey,
I go fishing.
What's the old joke? Give a man a fish, he'll eat for a day. Teach a man to fish, and he'll sit in a boat and drink beer all day.
Yeah.
Um,
I get-
hey John,
Mhm.
just calling to your attention that maybe that's not the appropriate shirt to be wearing for this conversation.
Why is that?
What is he wearing? What is? I
Does
can't see
anybody
it.
else see
Let's
it?
call those hogs. That's funny. Okay, let me strike that.
Okay, so bacon addiction. Great.
Bacon addiction.
I have that.
I'm gonna try something. Let's try using my guitar here. Can you hear that?
No.
No.
Hmm.
Can't hear it? Okay, never mind. I won't use it. let's get the meeting officially started. Part of our uplift in 2024, we want to focus on a nutritional uplift as well as a mental and a spiritual uplift. I think we all know that if we have good nutrition and we eat the right foods, we do feel better than if we eat the wrong foods and have poor nutrition, we generally feel worse. That's something most children know that. What we want to discuss today is sugar addiction, overeating, binge eating, eating disorders, and ideas that we have for each other and viewers to affect our lives in a beneficial way, a way that uplifts us and encourages positive nutrition. So we'll fill probably an hour today. That's what we're going to aim for. So I've got lots of notes and ideas.
So John, I just want to say that this is a pretty meaty topic, and I would invite everybody to pull a chair up to the table and dig in. And we might be a little bit bananas or go a little bit nuts, but there's a lot to digest here.
Scott, oh my gosh. Can't with you, man.
I like it. I also want to say that it's a somewhat a sensitive and personal topic because we all have our own viewpoints and we have our own choices to make ongoing in the future, but we have opinions about the choices we've made in the past. So I want everybody to be open-minded to possibilities for change and listening to what other people might have to say about this topic. And we may have somebody else join in. I sent out a lot of invites, and we'll see. But I've got ding dongs. I've got some fruit roll-ups. A little bit of slightly healthier sugar, but I want to show a few examples of sugar. And so
what was that?
Okay, John, I will just say that although you are supposed to get 4 to 5 servings of fruit a day, A, I don't count, and B, neither do the fruit roll-ups.
Fruit roll-ups do not actually have much fruit in them. I don't think I have any fruit in them.
100% fruit, healthiest fruit thing.
You are on fire today, Scott.
This meeting has you as fruit in it, though, so thank you for that.
That's true.
We got a little healthy sugar today. So maintaining a steady blood sugar is a key to regulating insulin release in your body. I want to talk eventually about insulin and blood sugar, blood glucose level. I hope everybody has had something to eat today, and if you're watching and you haven't, you'll go grab a snack. So we're going to have some snacks. I had an idea, and I wrote it down for bringing some awareness to your diet and what you take in on a regular basis. So here's something you could start in the morning when you first eat, maybe ideally 7, 8, whatever time you wake up. Maybe you work nights and you're watching later. Keeping a tally, a point count. It's a running count of your day's food and sweet intake. How much sugar is a critical part of this. So if you have a meal, a decent meal, give yourself 2 points. And you can write this down on paper. Actually, I've got a chart for this. I'll switch to while I'm, and you feel free to screenshot it.
Row.
Okay, so you can make this on paper yourself, or you can take a screenshot of this and print it off. It's a rough chart I made. I may develop this chart idea in the future. But so for a meal, you give yourself. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, good deal. For a meal, you give yourself 2 points. For a snack, you give yourself 1 point. If you have a sugar item, including a drink, you give yourself 1 point. If you have a cup of water, it's minus 1 point. You can keep track of this on paper throughout the day. And I came up with at about 3 p.m., it'd be good to have less than 8, but more than 3. That's my personal opinion if using this idea how you might implement it. But I'm not a doctor, and I don't have education other than self-education about nutrition. So keep that in mind. But this is an idea for making sure that you have some nutrition at every part of your waking day. And all you'll see it goes up to 2 a.m. For you could make a similar chart for your personal schedule, but it just makes sure that you have tracked how much water you've had during the day, as well as how much nutrition you have during the day. What's most important to me is that everyone have something. And that's what I want to encourage each of you to consider when you are wondering, what's wrong and why do I feel different? Probably.
It's a fun system. I like keeping the tally. And I keep my number a little lower because I'm trying to trim off some excess weight. So right now I'm cooking it at 1. I had a handful of blueberries and a raw egg for breakfast. So if I have a water, I'll bring myself down to 0. And I've had my nutrition, had my water. I'm not lacking on any of the necessities. Here after the meeting, I'll have a healthy meal, bring that up to +2. And then I know that I'm being on the smaller end of the scale. I'm achieving the diet that I want to hopefully trim off some pounds. Um, I don't know. I think everyone has a different number that would work for them on a daily basis, but also remember that since water is a minus on the list, that you can keep your number pretty low by having the water.
Well, and I
Uh,
Well,
believe you're supposed to have, what is it, 8 ounce glasses of water a day.
Something like that.
yes.
So, and I'm one of those people that I don't typically like to drink just plain water.
Mm.
So I do a lot of canned club soda. Got no calories to it, but it's still got the carbonation.
So I got this thing that you might be interested in there. It's circle spelled weird. It's backwards on the screen, but it's got these little things that you screw into the top here, and they add flavor to your water. So this one's adding kiwi and strawberry flavor to the
I've
water.
tried. I know that works for a lot of people. I've tried those, and it just doesn't quite do it for
You like
me. Now
you like the
I
fizzy,
have I definitely like the fizzy stuff,
yeah,
and I do have a um oh boy, it's like a 32 ounce double walled plastic
yeah,
drinking container, and especially during the summer, I'll drop some slices of cucumber or some sliced strawberry or blueberries or blackberries in it
yeah.
and flavor it that way, and then I'll
Love
turn around and eat the
cucumber in my
fruit,
water
and then I'll eat the stuff afterwards.
afterwards. Yeah, that's good.
Well,
Um,
I will say that since John showed this to me, kind of ran the idea past me, um, I've been tallying this in my head myself. I'm usually here with my Diet Dr. Pepper. I am not. This is my Bucky's cup filled with flavored water. And I've been paying a lot more attention to my water intake since that, and I've stopped basically doing the soda. So
yeah.
my sponsorship has changed. Damn it.
Kind of a fun game. I think it's interesting because it doesn't put a lot of stress on you. More so it puts kind of a fun way to just keep tally of it. I think it's pretty interesting.
Well, and I also do want to say a lot of times when people are trying to get away from sodas, they'll replace them with fruit juice, thinking that, fruit juice is, a healthier alternative, and it is to a certain extent, but it's still an awful lot of sugars.
So I have sodas with each of my meals. It's just something that I need to have, and I switched to sugar-free for anything like that. Sugar-free creamer. So I'm not having any that processed sugar in my diet throughout the day. All my sugar comes from natural stuff like berries and carbs from rice and whatnot. It's a difficult leap to make, especially if you have a diet that consists heavily of McDonald's and sodas to go down with it. And I know that is a rabbit hole that's very easy to slip into, as I did it in November and December. And as I was eating at McDonald's, I was feeling the addiction that then the power that food specifically has over us as humans. I mean, they have this stuff engineered to make our minds really, really want it. And I was really, really wanting it. I'm glad that I trailed off of that because I was overeating and I was eating stuff that wasn't helping my body do what it needs to do. And in the infinite complexity of our physiology, if we apply the appropriate food and ingredients, we can actually live in a way that we feel elevated or high all the time. I mean, I have an incredible energy level. My mental clarity is there. Um, I I don't feel like I need any substances to assist my day because I'm already running it on all cylinders, and it feels wonderful.
Well, going to the McDonald's thing, James, I had heard, I've never worked at McDonald's, but I have known multiple friends in my life that had a job at McDonald's, and they actually add sugar to those fries in addition to all the salt that they put on it.
Yeah.
And it's because sugar is addictive. You know, it kicks in some energy to you. Um, but even the salt, I mean, what was that old Lay's commercial? You can't eat just one.
That's
You know,
Pringles.
oh, is that? I have that problem with Pringles. I buy a can of Pringles, I eat half the can in one sitting. That's why I
Yeah.
try not to buy. I also have that problem with Cheez-Its.
Oh God,
I'll
yeah.
eat half the
White,
box.
Well,
Yeah,
white
get those
Scott,
cheddar
that's
hot,
a
Cheez-Its.
spicy Cheez-Its, man.
that's a
Mm.
perfect segue into a little
Yeah.
experiment we'll run on myself. I'm going to be guinea pig. I've got uh, here's
You
what I'm
don't
going
look
to
like a guinea
consume.
pig.
This is what I'm going to consume in the next 45 minutes. Let's see, probably 7. I had 2 last night before I went to bed. That's not true. I had 3. 7 ding dongs and a small box of fruit roll ups. I'm going to eat these. I've got I brought my coffee. So here, coffee is a food item technically. So here are a big part of my
Amber,
coffee addiction are these.
Amber,
Yeah.
James, you guys are closer to him than I am. I'm a little concerned that he might end up in a food coma or that
James,
he might bounce around the house like a hummingbird
It's likely.
after doing this experiment.
It's likely. These are my personal food choices. I don't recommend that you follow my personal food choices. Don't do as I eat. Please do not. I've got a backup bottle of this in the refrigerator. My International Delight Zero Sugar Creamer. I have to have it. I will sell a kidney to get my coffee creamer if I had to. I got my Zero Sugar Dr Pepper. I'm going to consume this during the meeting also, so maybe that'll counteract my high
You're
blood
not going to have a
glucose.
pancreas left after this.
You should have went
No.
full flavor on those things. What are you doing,
Full
zero sugar?
flavor. I've got enough.
Yeah.
I'm eating enough sugar, so what I'm
Yeah,
doing is not drinking sugar. So I just
we're
got
trying
coffee,
we're
no
trying to see how
sugar.
bad it makes you feel doing all that.
No, I'm gonna explain that. I'm gonna feel rough. Believe me, I'm gonna explain
Ladies and
that.
gentlemen who are watching from home, please welcome to reality television.
Well, welcome to my life. So my gas station diet, which happens frequently, is beef
I'll be right back.
turkey. You're gonna leave? Okay. I love some beef jerky, so I'm gonna finish this bag of beef jerky before the meeting's over.
Okay,
Okay, so
John,
you're
I know
gonna
what
be eating
I know
all
what
of
I'm going
this.
to I know what I'm going to get for you as a present. I'm going to get you a dehydrator so that you can make that stuff at home, and it's a hell of a lot healthier.
Mm.
And you can do fruits and vegetables in it.
And you can do fruits and vegetables in there too.
Some freeze-dried or some dehydrated strawberries are amazing, as well as apricots.
I brought
That's
some
what
fruit.
I do buy dried fruit to chop up, and I put it in my overnight oatmeal that I have for breakfast 3 or 4 days a week.
Yeah. I'm gonna
And then I also buy fresh berries at the grocery store, and I can't eat them all before they go bad. So I put them in the freezer, and then put those into the overnight oatmeal as well, and let them thaw.
that sounds good.
It's so easy to do, and it's a very, very healthy breakfast.
So I'm sorry, hang on. Did I miss the point of why John is eating all of this?
Not to promote it, but to hopefully point out, and I'm not going to do any acting as a professional paid actor. I'm going to show you how I
You're
feel,
going to
or
make yourself sick.
you can judge for yourself. You can tell me if you want. I might not like it, but you can tell me. I hear all sorts of crap from James all the time.
All day.
So go ahead. I'm just going to eat my first ding dong. Ding dong.
Can you get the whole thing into your mouth?
I can't fit a ding dong into my mouth. It's very small.
Okay, guys, as the only gay person on this stream, I really am having to bite my tongue.
Ding dong.
All right, so what was
Dongs.
the next topic? How about that?
But
Topic point.
Segue.
this is 3 or 4, right? Binge eating.
A VA medical professional, a doctor, told me that drinking sugar is the worst thing that you can do to your body alongside smoking tobacco.
Ah,
Those two things he told me are those two things are the worst two things you can do for yourself. So
James.
yeah. See, I'm gonna go to the gym after I eat and smoke cigarettes on the way there, and then punish myself by not being able to breathe on
and
my
I am
exercise.
not, and I am not.
No,
Yeah,
I'm gonna play video games.
some people go to the gym. I want to say you can exercise at home if you want to. Even if you live in a tent, you can still exercise,
Yeah,
and it's a thing that's good for you.
even just your body weight is adequate for
Yeah.
exercises. Yeah, it
Uh,
might be boring,
me
but
myself and I don't like going to the gym, but I'll work out at home a little bit.
I get out for walks depending on the weather, once in the morning and once in the evening. And and I don't do push-ups, but I do sit-ups and crunches at home.
yeah, I think the golden rule in what exercise is needed is you need to get your breath going. So you're having a little trouble keeping up with your breathing. Get your heart rate up, obviously, and just a little sweat. If you can just get that little bit of sweat in there, as well as a good air exchange, do that 2 or 3 times a week. I mean, that's really all you need, and it only takes 20-30 minutes. Um, but it's also part of what we need as humans to feel high all the time. Unfortunately, it's something that we got to do because we've been active throughout the history of humanity. And now we're at this point where we can live these sedentary lives very easily. But we got to go run after a caribou or something 3 times a week. Get that heart going.
Okay,
Nice.
I want to watch you go run after a caribou.
Yeah, it doesn't go very well. I don't catch them. I'm real slow.
Well,
Uh,
there's actually a ratio to this, and I know this because this is in women's magazines all the time, how to lose 5 pounds in like 2 seconds or some crap like that. If you are trying to lose weight, you need to be burning more calories than you're taking in.
Yep.
So that's where your diet comes into play in a lot of these situations. If you're trying to gain weight, the goal is to find out how many calories you're using per day. And you use calories for everything from just sitting to exercising to
Sleeping.
sleeping. And what's your strongest muscle in your entire body?
Brain.
Your tongue.
Tongue.
Oh, that your brain
Tongue is. So
tongue.
even when you're talking, you are burning calories. So yeah, that's the fun crap that women get to look at all the time in our magazines.
Those self-hate magazines.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Well, I want to talk about that.
Yeah.
You know, just for a minute. And Amber, it does happen with men as well.
Oh, no,
There's
no,
a
no, no, no.
there's a
I've been
not as
reading my
women don't get it as much as men do, but men do get it.
I read my husband's GQ magazine for the past 2 months and had freaking one of the Kardashians on the front of it, dressed as a man, saying top man of the year, and like she's eating Cheetos or something. It's the weirdest. Yeah.
Yeah.
It definitely, especially in the last, we'll call it a century or so, the physical ideals for both women and men have significantly changed. If you go back to, say, the Renaissance, there's a whole painting genre that's called Rubenesque, where women were supposed to be larger and curvy. And now it's all thin and skinny, or the expectations are completely different, and people need to not buy into them. It's okay to embrace your body shape. You still need to be healthy,
Mhm.
but you don't need to try to look like Cher, who had ribs removed to make her waist thinner.
Yeah, that's my program right there. Where to sign up?
Find a surgeon, dude.
I'm just kidding. No, but yeah, a lot of these expectations are societal. They're forced by our culture. And they had different meanings throughout history. You know, at a point it was a sign of wealth. Uh prior to totalitarian agriculture, we didn't have an excess amount of food, and everyone was skinny. So as soon as you started pe seeing people that were that had some extra weight onto them, it was a sign that they were able to eat, and a sign of wealth and prosperity, and that they were doing a lot better than your tribe that was all a bunch of anorexic, wishing they had some food people. Nowadays, a lot of it is visual, and so don't get caught up in magazines from either guys or girls on these expectations. Definitely love yourself, no matter what. You know, I have my own personal expectations of myself because I spent my life as an athlete, not 3 syllables. Um, and I don't like the way that I look whenever I'm even just a little bit heavier, you know, and that's something that I put on me. Uh, I'm used to looking a certain way. I'm used to having a six pack, and if I don't have that, I don't feel as good as I do. Um, I don't think I should go as crazy as I've done in the past, because I get hangry a lot. You know, if you don't have any extra on you,
Hey,
your body says, "Hey, we don't have anything to eat," and then it starts putting that panic, like you got to go get some food, and it's an emergency. That's not good either. That's not healthy either. But that's what happens if you're trying to be a fighter or you know, whatever.
well, and I will say this, in relation to the problems that I have with working too much. Um, you know, we've got a vending machine at the office,
Mm.
And, I'll only eat a little bit I'm not a really big breakfast person. It takes me a couple of hours before my tummy's ready to get food. And I'll start working, and, by 10 or 11, I am hangry,
Mm.
and I will just end up getting up and going to that vending machine and buying the most sugar intensive, carb
Yeah,
intensive stuff I can find
taking a
to
dose
stuff down my throat.
like an
Yep.
injection. Yeah.
It really is. And it's like, and about 15 minutes later, it all starts to hit. And
Yeah.
it's like, oh, I feel better.
And the problem with the processed sugar is your body doesn't know how to handle it the same way. It's like I can eat a ton of sugar via fruits and other healthy carbs and it not have a negative impact. Whereas if it comes from an energy drink or something like that, your body doesn't handle it the same way. Doesn't really quite
So,
know what to do with it.
so guys, what we're saying, for those of you that are watching us, what we're saying is that Mary Poppins was incorrect. A spoonful of sugar does not make the medicine go down.
Yep, that's one way to put it.
Hmm.
Um, there's a lot of stigma around people who are overweight or whatnot. I think that the most beautiful woman that I've ever seen happens to be my husband's ex-wife, but it was because she was as what did she tell me? 22, and she wore bikinis all the time, and she just started her stuff like a peacock
Hmm.
and didn't have any problems with it whatsoever. And it was that confidence that was way sexier than.
I was about to say, Amber, it's the way you carry yourself.
Mhm. It really is.
That's
Yeah.
that is what's sexy, whether you're male or female. It's the way you carry yourself.
Yeah, and I've noticed that, in some bigger women, if they were exercising, taking care of themselves, I did find that more attractive as well. It's like I think as humans, we want to make sure that our partners are taking care of their health. It's kind of naturally ingrained in us to seek out someone that is on that path. Um, so
Not
I
about
think,
I
that
don't know if
one.
I
I
agree
think
with you
it's
though.
more about
huh?
personality.
I don't know if I
I
agree
think,
with you exactly there.
I
yeah.
It's part of it.
I I'm I was thinking, James, as you were talking there, I was thinking if they're mentally healthy and taking care of themselves,
Uh-huh.
then it's attractive.
Yeah.
If they're taking care of themselves in because they have an obsession over,
Yeah, I was meaning that you don't have to
that's
be
bad.
some skinny chick with a big muscly butt to be attractive.
Well,
Uh, if you're taking the approach to health, I think that that's always a turn on for people.
well, let me point out something. The conversational prompt isn't necessarily about exercise or physical attractiveness, or it's more about sugar, specifically as a substance that a lot of America takes in on a regular basis.
Yeah.
Uh, but what I would say is we're all hoping that we see better versions of each other in the future, and I don't include your spouse probably, but we want to continue to encourage each other and promote each other's wellness, um, celebrating progress. I would
Mm.
say more than encouraging better results, because these
Yeah.
things are very difficult and complicated for multiple reasons for every individual in the planet probably,
Mm.
but
Yeah.
we support each other in word and against addiction behavior. That includes addiction to salt, sugar. I think those things are in the realm of addictions. And so as I'm kind of slowing down now, um,
Well, so there's a there's a thing about comfort foods
Yeah.
and you know, what makes you feel good. And if you're constantly turning towards unhealthy foods to make yourself feel better, I think that's a sign that you might have a problem and need to change your behavior.
And I think 90% of what makes us a healthy person would be our diet, and very, less than 10% being our physical activity. I think most of it can be handled by eating well, eating healthy ingredients, cooking your own meals, eating out of your refrigerator. Um,
A lot of it also has to do with being aware of your genetics.
mm,
Uh, my first husband, Dave, when I met him, he was probably 325 at that point, and he was 6 foot tall, so big guy. And he absolutely won me over with his charisma and his charm because the first time that I saw him, I was like, oh my gosh, that's a big guy. And then as soon as he started talking, I was like, that's the guy who I want to be with. And he knew that it was hereditary in his family to be obese. Like their addiction is eating.
mm,
And when they're stressed, when they're upset, when they are happy, whatever it is, they're going to the fridge to go and find something to eat. And usually what's in there is not good, processed, etc. The children that I had with him, I taught them from a very young age the difference between good sugars and bad sugars, and that it was okay to have one bad sugar a day, but that was it. The rest had to be healthy sugars. And so my kids will go through fruit faster than fruit flies. Nothing is safe in my house if it is a fresh fruit. Um,
oh,
Well,
the
rats, I'm not staying with you.
well, yeah, but candy they don't touch.
that's good. Good. I mean, it's nice to have something that is something of a treat, that comfort food, but also just a treat in general. Some people will take, uh, after they've had a very productive morning, busy doing whatever, have that treat right afterwards, and kind of replenish what you've used up within yourself. And
I
that. Go ahead, Scott.
Okay, one of the books that I'm reading currently has a scene in it, and keep in mind that it's fiction and it's set back several hundred years. Um, but a woman takes her godson out and buys him a single candy
Hmm.
as a treat,
Hmm.
and he's never had it before, and he was 6 years old. That's
That's actually pretty close to fact.
yeah. I mean, it's things have gotten so inexpensive that it's not that expensive to go buy a big bag of Snickers.
Yeah, Skittles, right?
They're no longer treat.
Uh, if I open up that door for candy, man, I just keep eating candy. It's like, every day it happens. It's crazy the effect that that those treats have on us, mentally. Um, it's like, the same thing with you can't just have one with the chips. For me, that's with the candy. Like, I'll not touch candy or ice cream for months, and then if I crack open a tub of ice cream and eat one bowl of it, I'm going back until that thing is gone. You know.
Well,
Uh,
John and I talked about this the other day. I mean, your taste buds get trained uh, at from a young age to enjoy certain things. So, I grew up on Coca-Cola and Dr. Pepper, and I got used to sweet drinks. And
Same here.
and and from the South, sweet tea.
Yep.
Yeah,
Ditto.
sweet tea.
It if you couldn't see sugar in the bottom of the glass, there was not enough sugar in it. Um,
So can I talk about?
I was talking to my mom today. It's like with salt. I mean, how many times have you sat down to dinner? You know, somebody made a homemade dinner, and the person that gets served grabs the shaker of salt and salts it before they've even had a bite.
Yeah, that's me. Do that, or I put Frank's Red Hot sauce on it.
Let me talk about a few things for a second. So Scott brought up sweet tea, which often has caffeine in it. You can get uncaffeinated tea as well as unsweetened tea, sweet tea not sweetened with sugar. Um, it's something that I think a lot of people deal with, and I actually have concern about my intake of sugar mixed with caffeine in the liquid form because it happens frequently, and I know because I have heard it from an educated person that it is not good for my health and may lead to fewer weeks on the end of my life as I've started to think about it and look at it. That big tall 20-ounce Red Bull really worth losing a day off the end of your life? I don't know if it is, so I try to make critical
I
choices.
know, is it a sick day?
Was it a sick day? It could be a very, very sick day. I've actually had a friend before that had diabetes. I came into his apartment one time. Thank God it was unlocked. He was on the floor from blood sugar issue, and we had to call. We tried some orange juice down his mouth and called 911. It was a panicky moment, and he died about a year later. Lost him to diabetes, to a diabetic condition. Uh, and what I wanted to say about sugar mixed with caffeine is that it can be very addictive, and we can get very accustomed to that thought of it's a thought that we have in our mind that we hold on to for a moment of I need sugar or I need food, I need something to drink. And then that leads us down a road of uh, I, later on we'll maybe be just bored. We just don't have anything going on. We're not doing anything with our hands, and we think to ourselves, "I need to go grab a drink," and that leads us potentially into issues of addiction to sugar, the drink, the liquid itself, and the experience of having a liquid in your mouth. I think that it can be addictive. It channels pathways in my brain, I would say. I pretty much always have to have a drink.
Same here. And you think we've only had cups for about 10,000 years. You know, what did we do
I'm
before that?
someone that, sorry, I'm someone who always has to have something to drink with me, and I've just replaced the soda with the water. And I can't do straight water unless it's like ice cold. So I always have a water flavor of some sort to add into it. So that's not necessarily the most healthy thing, but if it gets me to drink the water, kind of evens
Yeah,
out.
that goes a long way. Just getting the water in. I mean,
See, and I've
I,
moved as I've moved away from caffeine over the last 5 years, maybe a little bit more. Um, I I was so used to having something warm to sip on that I've moved over to herbal teas. And I
Yeah.
do gravitate over towards the sweeter ones, but I don't add anything to it.
So as we get better and better in our lives, and that way we get there is by making better and better choices and decisions about the things that impact our future. What we want to do is remember our smart resolution. Our smart resolution is something that is going to be specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time bound. Time bound is very important there because what happens now affects later, how much time you have to make other resolutions and goals on the end of your life. At the end of your days, you will have days that will come to an end, and hard to tell you, you are a mortal person. You are a human. So part of that is to live a life that has awareness of your your fate. So make good decisions about what you're doing and how much sugar you're putting in your bloodstream, how many times per day you're spiking that blood sugar and causing so much insulin release in your system. Uh, your pancreas can wear out and just stop functioning altogether. Thankfully, we have medicine and science that has learned that we can inject insulin into the bloodstream and it can alleviate our high blood sugar issues if our pancreas did stop working. But this is a real problem that I think a lot of people have, and future a destination for their sugar addiction if they do not turn around and try to be good to that pancreas and easy on the workload that they give it. I'll tell you that after eating half a box of ding dongs and a couple of fruit roll ups, I feel quite tired. I feel, how do I feel? Energetic, but very tired at the same time. Maybe I'm
Because your body is still trying to digest that garbage.
Trying to figure out
So,
what's going on.
in my
so I,
bloodstream.
I,
Go ahead.
I will say, guys, I am hypoglycemic, pre-diabetic. So I
Mhm.
do have to watch my sugar intake. My doctor monitors it every 3 months, just to make sure that I'm doing okay. A lot of my problem is not necessarily based on sugar that I'm eating right now. It's what I did when I was a kid and in high school, drinking a 12 pack of soda every day. And weaning yourself off of that can be difficult. And you've got to take baby steps. It's not like you can just suddenly switch over to drinking nothing but water.
Pink lemonade helped me out there.
I think that at this time of year, we're getting a lot of advertising for like exercise machines and gym memberships and things like that so that people can lose weight. Um, and we've been talking about, okay, this is how you can lose weight is keep track of these points and et cetera, et cetera. When John and I were first talking about this, um, he didn't even know about this, and I've known John for a long freaking time now. That I have an issue with bulimia, and it is a lot of people think of bulimia, it gets described as, oh, well, you go and binge eat something, and then you go and you make yourself throw up and like stick your fingers down your throat type of thing. And no, it is way more mental than that. I don't binge eat, like I just eat and eat and eat and eat. And then I get to the point where I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that I ate all of that stuff. And I can mentally get so obsessed over it that I will make myself throw up. I am seeking treatment for it right now. I am seeing a doctor, and she actually has me on some medication to help me gain weight. Um, because I had gotten down to where I was very, very underweight. I'll just put it that way.
Do you mind? Can I ask how old you were when that first started? How long is that's going on?
Um,
Okay, I'm just going to interject here right now. Despite the fact that he's got a full tummy and is not feeling that great, he's snacking on beef jerky.
I'm pro beef jerky. I can get behind that.
I was probably around 13 when that started.
Uh,
And it's been something that I've struggled with for most of my life, but it's become more pronounced within the past few years when I had one of my exes uh, mentioned to me during coitus that it would be a lot easier if I didn't weigh so much. And I was like, oh, that's
That helps.
yeah, that was wonderful.
Uh-huh.
Painful.
So that sent me kind of spiraling on this purging myself that I've been dealing with for now a real hardcore for the past 7 years.
Yeah, that's hard.
Yeah.
Virtual hug.
Virtual hug.
Well, so and things, so if you do suffer from this, let me talk about some of the bad things from it. Because first off, when you are doing this, what is coming up is also stomach acid. That is really horrible for your esophagus. It's horrible for your vocal cords. It's terrible on your teeth. You will have to go and see the dentist a lot more. It's not good on the rest of your digestive system because your stomach has already sent a signal down to your small and large intestines to expect something. And when they don't get anything, then you start getting ulcers in your intestines. So it goes both ways. It's not fun. And to suffer from that and try and fight it, it's hard. And I get it. So I just want to say that I don't want to address just one way of eating. There's also the other end of it that's just as difficult.
Yeah, and I think, to some degree, I've fallen into more in my life troubles with mild anorexia. I'd mentioned having this idea of what my fitness is, and there's times in my life where I've gotten down to weights that I shouldn't be at, and you couldn't pinch an inch on me, and uh, I would go to bed hungry on purpose, and I'd lay on my fist to appease that hunger, and I would just know that I'm losing weight during the night, you know. So there's a lot of these disorders, and as you mentioned, you have a therapist for it, and we encourage anyone that is suffering from these afflictions to seek professional help, in addition to what you're doing.
One of the things that I like about the chart sheet that John put up is that I can look at that from the other end of the scale and go, okay, I need to make sure that by 3 o'clock I have 8, or at least my total is up to 3. That I'm not drinking so much water, that I'm not hungry, that I don't eat, or that what I do eat, I've not kept down.
Hmm.
Well, and as far as eating disorders are concerned, I also want to bring up there's been a few studies that have come out in the last year, and pardon me, I don't have citations for them. Um, there are a lot of teenage guys who are chugging protein powders
Um,
in order for them to bulk up, and that is also unhealthy.
Yeah, that's another addiction. I mean, I'm just blessed that I haven't discovered steroids because I could have very easily gone down that route, and trying to uh, make myself physically this somewhat unattainable thing. I mean, we grew up playing with He-Man.
And he was, yeah. So okay, so I digging into that a little bit. I used to know a guy that came into my place of work on a fairly regular basis, and was pretty much your definition of Greek god. with the way he was built. I mean, he basically had the absolutely perfect body, but he was obsessed with the fact that his muscles weren't built enough. And a couple of years ago, I just happened to run into him when mailing off some packages at like a FedEx, and he had started using steroids to bulk up, and he did not look like the same person.
Mm-hmm.
It was like, okay, you went from having a body that people would kill for to having a body that's going to kill you.
Absolutely. Yeah, and it's a sick addiction. We need to love ourselves a lot more to start this whole process,
I
and
Yeah.
agree.
then do our best to give our bodies what it needs, especially nutrition and water, uh, and then to
Well,
avoid those
and
foods that.
drinking enough water can help you feel full. It can
Mhm.
help you lose weight.
Yeah.
My doctor has actually told me that before I go to eat, to go and drink a glass of water
Mhm.
first, because we've gotten our signals kind of mixed up in our brains as we've gone along the generations, that we will think that we're hungry when we're actually just thirsty.
Um,
So
yeah.
they have me drinking
And
a
then we
glass.
eat something salty, which makes us more thirsty.
Well, they had
Yeah.
me drinking a glass of water before I eat, and then eat, and then drink another glass of water to, um, in my case, help that it stays down.
I think the closer we pay attention to what we do consume, and then the feelings, the after effects of that, and not just after consumption, before consumption. Like for example, yesterday I was feeling a need for sugar because I wasn't having enough of it, so I had a giant bowl of strawberries, and it appeased that feeling. Uh, but it takes time before you're able to recognize what exactly you need, whether it be water, calories in general, sugar, even fat, uh, even salt, like all of these things we need to some degree.
So, James, I'm going to have a question for you, and I'm going to have one um, for Amber. Um, I think with one of the problems with a sugar addiction is the fact that if you have a sugary drink, it hits faster than if you have a bowl of strawberries,
Yeah.
because it takes a little bit longer for things to digest and get into your system. So it's like getting a hit. Would that be
Mm.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, those highly processed sugars, our body does turn over faster um, than the natural stuff. Uh, it's just already broken down, already processed in a way that our bodies can.
It's like putting something in your vein rather than
Yeah,
chopping it up and eating it.
yeah, exactly.
Um, and then Amber, and you may not know the answer to this question. There's in most of Europe, a salad comes at the end of dinner, not at the beginning.
Hmm.
Hmm.
That is true.
Wow.
So I'm curious as to what the professional that you're speaking with would think about that. Because if I have a salad right before I have my dinner, I don't eat as much.
Right. Well, you have to think about with the contents of the salad. Here in the States, our salads, and I have traveled abroad, just for the record, so I'm not talking out of my butt. Um, there are in American salads iceberg lettuce, which if you go and you try and look up the nutritional content for that, it's
Non-existent.
nothing. It's nothing. So you have primarily iceberg lettuce, maybe a few shreds of carrots. The majority of what you're getting from it is in your salad dressing, which if you like ranch or Thousand Island or something that isn't a vinaigrette on there,
Hmm.
that's a whole ton of calories, just empty calories that go towards nothing. So the reason that, at least when I was in Italy, the reason that they explained to us why they did it reverse was because you eat your healthy foods first, and they
Mm,
saw salad as being unhealthy.
a treat. Oh,
And okay. I'm gonna have to look into that a little bit more because I have a local restaurant where my favorite salad is it's spinach, field greens, slices of pear, gorgonzola, and toasted walnuts.
But that sounds delicious.
yeah, that's perfect.
And it comes with a olive oil and balsamic vinaigrette.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's perfect. I mean, you have your spinach in there, you have your cheese in there for your dairy, you have your nuts in there for your protein, and then the vinaigrette. That's a very good meal. Um, if you can even just add spinach, or they have all kinds of different types of lettuce. Um, in fact, we just saw like Wisconsin lettuce at the store the other day. It looked like it was half cabbage, half lettuce. Very weird. So I want to look into this and see what it's like. But there's so
Okay,
many
so the
other that you
so
can.
the salad mix I have in the fridge is spinach and spring mix,
Mhm.
and I love it. It's a 50-50 blend.
Yeah, it's got, doesn't it have greens in it?
Yes.
So I'm thinking. So what would y'all say? Would a salad count more as a meal or as a snack? I'm thinking. I don't know what I think exactly.
Depends on the robustness of it. You
Not
It
know,
also
necessarily.
depends. It's also going to depend on what type of dressing you put on it.
Yeah, so I'm going to
If
say that's up to the discretion of the person who's actually caring to count it as an item to put on their daily tally. And if it's a hefty salad, yeah, you might consider it a meal. If it's not someone caloric, put it down as a one, and keep moving along. And I just want to say on the salads, it tons of vitamins, but there are other things that the body does require and do well with, especially if you're a person who does a lot of physical activity, who maybe works construction or something. You cannot eat three salads a day unless they have some protein in them, and maybe some croutons. You will not do well if you don't have some carbohydrates for your body to process, as well as some protein to feed the muscles that you're growing and make sure that the muscles that you have do not diminish due to overwork and undernourishment.
yeah,
It's important to eat. The idea of this chart is that you feel good about saying, yes, I ate a healthy breakfast. I'm going to put 2 points down. And then if you have a sweet cup of coffee, maybe your sugar isn't, maybe your coffee creamer is not zero sugar coffee creamer, um, but you might mark it down as a one. And then if you I say you drink water every time you eat. Every single time you eat, when you're having coffee, have a little water as well. Um, Water is very,
okay,
very important.
so John, I'm going to add a little something to this. A lot of the zero sugar items have different sweeteners.
other bad
Some of
sugar.
the maybe agave, some of it maybe stevia. There's a lot of research that shows that those things in excess can also be bad for you.
Yeah. Yeah, my sodas have aspartame in it. I've heard that that's quite bad as well. I try to limit myself to just for my meals, it's kind of taking the lesser of two evils. Do I want to have 54 grams of processed sugar, or do I want to have some chemical that's probably going to give me cancer later? Yeah, that's a difficult decision for me.
This
It's
one's
Um,
got
everything in
su-
moderation.
sucralose is what this one's got. Let me check the Dr. Pepper. I'd be curious to know about the Dr. Pepper. Sucralose.
so when my kids were little, what I would teach them is that anything that rhymes with grows, such as sucrose, is going to be bad for you.
Yeah.
That's bad sugar. So whereas Scott was talking about how he could see the sugar in the bottom of the sweet tea, at the end of the day, that sweet tea is going to be healthier for him than that no sugar creamer is for John. Your body absorbs things that are naturally made. That's where we as Americans have predominantly our issues, is that we have very processed food. We have very easy access to convenient food. I was
Does
going to say cheap food, but convenient food is not cheap anymore.
Convenient food is not
so
cheap food. No, it's the wallet
so
pretty hard.
so does anybody remember when and I think it was Lay's put out their stuff that had the Olestra in it so that it was less
No,
fat?
Olestra. I don't think I've ever heard of Olestra.
I do vaguely remember that.
So it was an undigestible fat, and if you ate too many chips, you needed. There's no easy way to say this. Let's just say your experience in the toilet the next morning was going to be unpleasant
No bueno.
Ooh.
because
Got a
your
lot of
body
Unless,
just
experience with
it
that,
was
no.
so
a
I don't want.
it,
I don't,
they pulled it off the market after about 3 years,
I
but
wonder if I'm eating Olestra and don't know it.
That's
I
because you're putting castor oil in it.
it really was. It just sort of slid right through. It was fat, so it tasted good, but it just slid right through you.
Oh man.
Well, yeah. So for you guys who don't know this, castor oil is something that they give women to help induce labor.
Yeah, I remember that.
And
Wait. Okay, I know what castor oil does, having had that as a kid. They give it to women to induce labor.
yeah, and the most common way to drink it is mixed with orange juice, which is nasty.
I'm just wondering if the OBGYN has hazmat gear on.
A little bit of Breaking Bad outfit.
Well, we've hit our hour here, and I got two things I need to do. One of them is burn this shirt because it's atrocious, and the other one is head off to the gym because it's my day for that.
Good.
But I think we covered a lot of good information here. I don't know if anyone has anything they want to add before we wrap it up.
Oh, I want to know where John is at on his binge eating.
How many ding
I
dongs you got left?
feel like shit. Actually, 10 minutes ago, I'm like, fuck this experiment. I get the results. I'm stopping. I made a conscious
Threw in the
decision.
towel.
I like, no, not having it anymore. It's way too much sugar. I feel very energetic, kind of jittery, but I don't think it's. I have tons of coffee all the time. So
So,
we.
James,
Yes.
on your way back home from the gym, if you'll stop off at the store and buy him some X-Lax, I have the feeling he might end up needing it.
Let's see. On the way back from the gym, I'm gonna eat 2 kiwis that I'll bring in the car, right, to get that
Oh,
sugar
kiwis
right
sound
after
really good.
exercise. And then I'm gonna go to the grocery store and I'm gonna get some nice fresh vegetables, a bag of Brussels sprouts, maybe some asparagus, get a steak, and start planning for my dinner later. And I look
That
forward
sounds
to making
that sounds
meals
delicious.
out of all kinds of random crap like that. You know, I go down the international food aisle and I start picking up like cans of weird mushrooms that I've never had before. There's a lot of fun in crafting your own meals, and I'm not a talented cook, but you can make some pretty tasty stuff with just a little bit of effort.
Hey, as I told you guys before before we started, I'm doing that lobster and scallop sausage
Yeah,
thing either tonight or tomorrow. So I'll get you guys pics of that, but that should be a fairly healthy dinner.
yeah, it sounds good.
You should share that recipe. I'd like to try that.
Yeah, I
All
can
right.
send it over.
But I'm gonna go ahead and sign off. It's great
All
seeing you guys
right.
again.
But be
I'll see you
careful about
next
how your taste
Saturday.
buds. Careful about how your see you, James. Careful about how your taste buds have been
Bye,
trained.
James.
We send you emotional love, and we're gonna cover that next. Emotional love addiction. So thank you for watching. See you guys later. We love you.
Love you.